Hi, and welcome to the Unlimited Power series, where we've searched the globe to find some of the most amazing experts. These experts are masters in intuitive guidance, communication with angels and spirit guides, and connecting with the power from within. I've brought these experts together to help you tap into the power within you. My vision is for you to create an extraordinary life to help you reach your absolute potential. My name is Minette Farrell, and I'm your host. I'm honored and blessed to have interviewed some truly amazing people who are willing to share their stories and proven strategies to help us find our higher consciousness. I'm so excited to introduce today's expert speaker, Takara Shelor. She is a best-selling author, award-winning speaker, engineer, and consultant. She helps people discover their unique magnificence. She helps them fine-tune and enhance their own intuition and helps them heal their past. Hi, Takara, and welcome. How are you today?
I'm good. Hi, everyone.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. My background is I was an industrial engineer working in pharmaceuticals manufacturing, and I was a frontline supervisor, manager in pharmaceuticals, and I went through horrendous stress.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I had 40 people that directly reported to me, and there was like some days my name was called over the intercom like every 5 minutes.
Oh,
And
wow.
people waiting to ask me questions. And so eventually all the stress of all that, I hit the wall. Literally, I hit the wall and kind of had a total meltdown. And in the process of that, and the reason I melted down, as I tell the story, is I had suppressed so many bad memories. I had stuffed emotion, mistreatment, rape. I'd abused, I had all kinds of stuff that I had successfully put a lid on and didn't deal with so that I could go out and be super successful, which I was. But this stress took that lid off. And suddenly all these emotions came flooding out. There's anger, there's sadness, there's fear, there's all this junk. I had no idea what to do with any of that because I had no experience. I'd never felt any of it before because I always stuck it over there somewhere. So in the process of putting myself back together, having realized, oh my gosh, I was raped, and oh my gosh, all this other junk, I got help. I got psychological help, right? But even the first couple of visits I went to that person, it's like when I took the lid off the suppressed emotions, I was also taking the lid off of intuition. And as soon as all this stuff came spilling out, it's like the switch just went flip on. Suddenly, I knew I needed to go here, and I knew I needed to read this book. And I mean, it was wild. It was totally wild.
Amazing.
And so, yeah, it was very fabulous. But I think that anytime we suppress anything, we're also suppressing our spiritual gifts, our clairaudience, our clairsentientness, our clairvoyance. And so what happened is, in the process of waking up and having these intuitive promptings that say, go to this bookstore, purchase this book, I learned to meditate. And the very first time that I ever did a guided meditation, I'd built this huge medicine wheel in my second bedroom. The first time I ever walked the wheel in my mind, I was at the south direction, watching in my mind a coyote be very crafty and silly, and it was being frisky and the things that coyotes do. And all of a sudden it started chasing its tail, which is not coyote behavior, right? But it in my vision, whatever, it was chasing its tail, and the next thing I know, as it's spinning around, it morphed into a dolphin.
Wow.
And that was my first dolphin encounter. And from that moment forward, every time I closed my eyes to do a guided meditation, I would see dolphins everywhere, and I could feel them. It was like I was in the water. I mean, it was wild, and it provided a massive amount of emotional healing for me. So I went from very, very left brain, logical engineering manager, award-winning multi-million-dollar project manager, to okay, I see dolphins and do energy healing, right? It's very, very, it's quite an interesting path I've taken.
That's amazing. So the dolphin is your spirit animal. It
Yes,
helps
definitely,
you.
definitely. And I would say very specifically the orca.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say specifically the orca, because eventually I quit that job. I couldn't handle the stress anymore. And I moved to the San Juan Islands, and I lived with like orcas. I could see them every day.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That must be not only amazing, but calming. And like, I love watching any videos with dolphins. I just saw a video with someone on a horse, and the dolphin, there was
Oh,
two
yes.
dolphins playing.
Yes.
Did you see that video?
Yeah, I have. Well, I run a Facebook group that's all about wild dolphins. So anytime anything goes around, we put it on there, So I see most things that go around with dolphins in them.
That was, I was like, these dolphins just wanted to play with this horse. I thought it was so amazing, and they are so calming. They are. So it must be an amazing, magnificent experience when every time when you do close your eyes or do any readings and they're there with you.
Right. Right. And my clients are the same way. I've got clients that were drawn to my work, and then they're drawn to dolphins. And one of them recently said, I was doing this meditation. Now she's doing meditations on her own. She's meditated for years. And she said, the next thing you know, like, there's dolphins all over the place. And she was laughing, it was adorable. But, they're energy healers. Mm-hmm. And I believe they are the messengers, of the divine feminine. They bring nurturing, just like the ocean, they're it's very nurturing, loving, Shekinah, Holy Spirit kind of energy that they bring.
Very, very interesting. I'm going to have to look up more about dolphins and maybe try and find what my spirit animal is. I think that's something that I want to look into, and I hope our audience wants to find more about what their spirit animal is and bring comfort from that. But you yourself have enhanced and fine-tuned your intuition to such a degree. You've had some extraordinary experiences. Can you tell us a bit about some of those experiences?
Right. Well, that first experience of, turning on the intuition, since then, that was like 20 years ago or more. Okay. So since then, all I've done is fine-tuned and enhanced intuition. So because I've done that, and a lot of tools that we're going to get into in this interview, I sort of just get these promptings, these like, do this now kind of instructions. Okay. And it's not for me, it's, I'm sure there's people on this summit talking about the difference between hearing and seeing and sensing. Okay. There's people that their sixth sense, their intuition is they see a flash, they see a vision, they see a video. Me seeing dolphins, that's not my normal, what I call clair. Okay. I'm clairsentient. I know and I feel. That's my normal thing. So when I say I just know, really, I just know. So it wasn't like I heard a word, because some people do. Some people hear clairaudiently, and they hear instructions. They hear the angelic choir. They hear, one of my friends hears poems and songs. It's really interesting.
Wow.
When she asks questions, she literally gets words come to her that she hears, and they always rhyme. It's like, wow, like, that's amazing, because it's not coming from her. It's so fabulous. Well, anyway, following that inner knowing, that is a feeling, just an inner knowing, I was able to close a business deal in literally 5 minutes.
Wow.
That's one thing. I was able to get divorced in 1 hour and 15 minutes in a state that supposedly they'd actually done in the newspaper. Recently there had been a write-up that said it took 51 days in New Mexico to do a do-it-yourself divorce. And I did it in 1 hour and 15 minutes.
Wow.
Okay. Because I absolutely knew that those papers had to be signed and given to the court on a specific day. It was just burning in my head that it had to be a specific day. So I followed that instruction, the most magnificent thing, the most like mind-blowing, deeply blessed thing so far is that following intuition, I was able to live on a $1 million yacht in Fiji and the South Pacific.
Wow.
So
When was that?
I got to see the dolphins swimming. What?
Yeah, how long ago was that?
That was 4 or 5 years ago. Not that long.
Wow. And so you're right there with all the dolphins and
Gorgeous water and sand and island hopping. We went to where they filmed the Blue Lagoon. We went to where they filmed Castaways. We island hopped all over the place. It was amazing. It was totally, totally amazing.
That's life transforming.
Totally. And if I had not followed whims of thoughts, that's what I tell people. Follow those little whims, the ones that if you're not really paying attention, you don't even notice that you had that thought. Mm-hmm. Like when I have a thought that, I wonder what so-and-so is doing, I stop everything and I call that person. And whenever I do that, what ends up happening is the person will say, I was just thinking of you. Mm-hmm. Or they say that they had just put up a call to the universe for help. One of those two things is always what happens whenever I think of someone and then I call. But following intuition, these little stray thoughts, that's how I manifested that trip. And if I had, I didn't search the web or anything. It was just through all these crazy synchronicities that seemed to have nothing whatsoever with that end result.
Wow.
But I followed them.
So how do you know because we all talk to ourselves.
Right.
How do you know if it's your intuition and not just you talking to yourself?
Okay. So later on, hopefully, as we have time, we're going to talk about some specific practices that I recommend. Okay. But one of those things on that list is meditation.
Okay.
And if you do deep meditation, there's a place I believe we're all trying to evolve and grow and become our highest potential, a spark of divinity radiating out our I am presence. Ultimately being loving, being kind, manifesting what we want, all that sort of thing. But I think what comes along with that evolutionary process for us is a state, I call it the noble seas, where you're calm, where you're clear, you're confident, you're divinely connected, and you're courageous. You take these big leaps. Me going on that trip was a big leap, okay? Yeah. But there's this, again, clarity and calmness. When you meditate and do these other practices we'll talk about, you get into that place. And so when you have thoughts, there's a feeling to them. There's a feeling. And you're operating from your heart. You're not operating so much from the mind. Yes, you use logic. You don't do silly things and get yourself into compromising positions and potentially lacking safety or whatever. Mm-hmm. But you follow your heart. You follow your passion. You follow these whims. And the more you do the practices we're going to talk about, the more you will get in tune with your own intuitive body, your own feeling body. Mm-hmm. And so this feels good. This feels bad. That's the end of it. You just can tell. This feels beneficial, this feels detrimental, And so when you have these stray thoughts, there's no emotion. Okay, they're not a worry. They're not I wonder if. They're things that just flit through out of nowhere, really. They're not you contemplating. They come in from over here somewhere, and they're not anything you were thinking about. That's how I know.
Okay. Do you want to tell us about the 5 practices to help assist people?
Sure. Okay. Yeah. So the first one we mentioned already is meditation. Okay. And I wrote a best-selling book on that subject, talking about a bunch of different methods because there's no one right way. Mm-hmm. Just like there's no one spiritual path that works for everyone, there's no one right way to meditate. And so I gave a whole cornucopia of different ways. But to get really, really deep and to really get into a calm state of being, what I highly recommend is guided meditations that get you into a theta brainwave. All right. And the kind of the only way to get into theta, I mean, there's a few ways to do it with specific music, but you got to know what the music is. And the musician playing it has to know that it does that. All right. But they're binaural beats that put you into a theta brainwave. Okay. And they're usually, if done well, get you in a hidden position. Like you can't hear them. Okay. They're buried in the music. And then someone guides you through a meditation. That's number one.
Okay.
Number two is some sort of practice that opens up your energy channels. And I know of 3 that specifically do that. 1 is Tai Chi and Qigong. 2 is the 5 Tibetan rites. And the 3rd one is yoga sun salutations, where you do multiple repetitions of that, which is the one of those that I do every morning. I meditate, and then I do several, whole things of yoga sun salutations. And then another one is time alone in silence in nature, only when that's safe. Okay, take a friend, and then you both go into silence for a while, do whatever you have to do. The 4th one is called dowsing with a pendulum. And not that many people know about that. Not that many people have heard of it. But what it does is it fine-tunes and enhances intuition faster than anything I know. Even though I mentioned meditation before, it's sort of a toss-up, right? Mm-hmm. But dowsing with a pendulum really, really fine-tunes your intuition and sort of turns up the volume on it so that you're more aware of the visions, more aware of the audio, more aware of those feelings, those sensations in your body. And then finally, I think that doing stuff that raises your vibration, like working with energy tools like crystals and color and sound, and like I have products that do that as well. There's and hands-on healing, Reiki, and that sort of stuff. All of those things raise your vibration. So those are the 5.
So you would say the most effective would be the meditation and the dowsing?
Right. Those are a toss-up for me. They're both, I've been meditating every day religiously, no matter how I felt or whatever, for 20 years.
Wow.
But as soon as I learned to meditate, as soon as I learned to douse, I started dowsing every day. Okay. So I incorporate both. The truth is, I incorporate almost all of those every single day, just because I believe that they're all important. But you take it a step at a time. You learn this thing and you learn that thing, and you make it fit into your schedule, and because you need to be a priority.
Yeah, and for a lot of people that are joining us, they may never have meditated before. And it's to find, like you said, there is different types of meditation, and it is to find the one that best suits right. you, to bring you and your mind and your mind and your heart into the calmness that would meditate to help open up the channels, right?
Exactly.
So everyone needs to, and you said it perfectly, everyone's spiritual journey is different in how they are, the path that they're taking. So for everyone, just even because the meditation, just starting, just to calm your mind is a big thing. And to learn that type of meditation.
Right.
I think those 5 practices are very, very interesting. There was another question. I'm just reading this here. The 9 deadly sins that are holding back people
right.
from reaching their highest potential. Can you expand a bit on what they are? And what it's about?
Okay. So I'm one of those people that, I send up questions. Like, I ask the universe questions all the time. Like, I want to know this. And sometimes I find out the answer right away through like synchronicity, read this book, or some friend says something, right? But I ask the universe for a finite list of the things that are in the way. What is keeping us away from being happy? What is keeping us away from being healthy? What is keeping us away from, being successful as we define success and having great relationships and all those things? And so it didn't come right away, but eventually this list did come in for me. Okay.
Okay.
So I gave it the name, the 9 deadly sins, just because it's fun. You know, it's like, give it a name. Okay, these are the 9 deadly sins because I believe sin is wrong thinking. Okay, and every one of these is how we're thinking wrong. And most of them are not conscious thoughts, they're subconscious thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
But every single session we do, class we take, private, you know, life coaches and healers, and we're all working on these 9 things. We're really trying to heal and release these 9 things. So here they are.
Okay.
Ready?
Yeah.
Now, first of all, I usually write them down, and I didn't. So I'm going to count on my fingers, and hopefully I'll remember them all, okay? The first one is fear. And we know fear is, I mean, you know, we fear everything. And the 3 main fears, the 3 biggest fears are fear of abandonment, fear of unworthiness, fear that we're unlovable.
And don't you find we're taught a lot of those fears as we grow up?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And they were taught to us because the people before us also believed them. And we now know that all these phobias and all this fear and all this crap passes down through the DNA.
Mm-hmm.
So we are just literally this garbage dump of DNA, bad mental junk, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, so fear is number 1. Okay. Number 2, they all kind of go together. But number 2 is limiting beliefs. All right. We have limiting beliefs. I'm too young. I'm too old. I could never do that. They're richer. I don't know. You know, we just put limits on ourselves.
I'm not good enough.
About everything.
Yeah.
About everything. We have limiting beliefs about everything. Number 3, fear, limiting beliefs. Judgments. I'm counting my fingers. Judgments. What we judge. Oh my goodness. That trips us up every time. Things we judge about ourselves, things we judge about others. I mean, every one of these, I could do a whole seminar on each one, right? We don't have time. Yeah. Anyway, okay, expectations. Expectations of ourselves, expectations of others. Shoulds. Should, right?
That word, eh?
Yes. Horrible. And yet we all run this. We all are working on all of these all the time, okay? Like you never get to a place, sadly, where you don't have some of these, right? You can heal tons of them, truly, but then every time you try to step up to the next level, you want to grow, you want to do something new. Like when I went from being somebody who sat behind a computer and had a bunch of followers to a person that became a best-selling author, there was huge hurdles I had to cross inside, okay? Yeah. You have to become the person that's a best-selling author, and it wasn't the same person that wasn't yet, you know? So there's all that stuff. So judgments and expectations. Attachments to outcomes. You can tell people have serious issues with attachments to outcomes when a computer breaks down or their car breaks down, okay? When things don't go the way they anticipated, people throw fits. Yeah. They freak out, they get angry, they're like, you know, and that's how you know there's work to do in that area, right? Because the right thing to do, if you're calm and centered and balanced and you're in harmony with the divine, you're like, oh, this moment doesn't look the way I thought it was going to look. What should I do right now? Okay, and like literally you can get to that place where in every moment, no matter what the chaos, no matter what the confusion, no matter what is going on and who's being crazy, you're just like, okay, that's what's happening right now. How can I respond to that? What action should I take to get out of this situation, or, you know, take constructive actions to, like, I don't know, get somebody to fix the tire, right? So attachments to outcomes, that's usually anger. We get very, very angry and frustrated. Every one of these trigger us into going into negative emotion. So when we have negative emotion, that means there's stuff we can work on, which are all these things, okay? The next one is guilt. Guilt.
Oh, that's a big one.
It's huge. It's huge. And again, that sort of ties in with the shoulds from the other one, but guilt is so destructive, you know? And it goes right along with the next one, which is shame. Yeah. You know, and anyone who's been raped or had something like that go on, they run shame. They do. There's ways to heal it, but that is one of the things. I mean, you feel tainted, you feel unclean, you feel ashamed, right? There is nothing that damages your self-esteem more than that. Okay. Yeah. Hugely detrimental. and can be healed. I mean, all of these can be worked on, can be removed, can be dissolved and fixed. So we have guilt, shame. The next one is blame, okay? Which goes right along with the next one, which is victimhood. So feeling like a victim, poor me, oh my gosh, this happened when I was young, so I just can't ever, that's just a story, right? Everybody I know has those stories. Everybody has something somewhere along the way that doesn't go their way. And it's like, we need to get over that stuff. We need to stop feeling like a victim. And those are the 9 deadly sins.
Those are, I like how you said at the beginning, you gave it a name. It affects everyone to a certain degree, but each one ties in with the other.
Right.
All of them to tie in. And it's amazing with, like, as I earlier talked about it, that internal dialogue.
Yeah.
And most people's internal dialogue is, judgmental towards himself, shame towards himself, guilt. And it's like, we wouldn't say the things we say to ourselves, to our friend.
Right.
It is amazing hearing, you've listed them, the 9, and they are the 9 deadly sins to your own happiness.
Exactly.
That people are facing day in and day out. And I like how you say they can be dissolved. I like that word, dissolve. And it's connecting not only the mind thinking these things, but the heart. Right?
Absolutely.
So can you tell us about, because you talked about it a little earlier in when we talked about the 5 practices, the dowsing, because you're offering us a course.
I am.
So can you tell us a bit about that?
So I teach dowsing. I teach pendulum dowsing. And like I said, it's one of the fastest ways I know to rapidly fine-tune and enhance intuition. And basically what you learn is how to ask questions of the universe. Basically, when you pick up a pendulum, this is one I have laying here, okay? And anything will do. Even I teach people, I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that? Okay. I don't know if like people you can use a necklace. Like, it doesn't have to be a formal thing, but you learn to ask questions and to get answers from your higher self, from your guides. It's a way, like when you pray, you're saying to God, the universe, your higher self, whoever you speak with, that you want help, or you'd like, assistance, or thank you, or whatever you're doing. Well, your intuition is the response that you're waiting for. Okay. And this gives you the answer. All right. This helps you. It makes it a two-way street, this communication. And so it's super empowering. You can figure out what's the best vitamin A I should use. Should I take this job promotion? Should I move across the country? It's great for decision making. It's really, really good for picking supplements,
Is it your intuition is working through that pendulum, and when you ask that question, it gives you the answer? Can you, or maybe answer that first, then I'll get excited with my question.
When we do my course, okay, there are other people that teach it. The American Society of Dowsers has all kinds of programs, but when I started working with dowsing, I received, intuited, was given a page worth, like an entire page worth of commands, basically, that program the pendulum.
Okay.
So when I pick this pendulum up, this is my dowsing system. Even if it's not my pendulum, it's my system. I'm calling in my higher self. I'm calling in my guides. It is now a healing device. It's now a clearing device. It takes on all this other additional meaning. And so when I pick up a pendulum, I'm saying, thy will, not mine. My higher self, I want you to come in. Guides, I want you to come in. And together, knowing my aspirations, knowing my desire to be healthy, happy, successful as I divine success, that I want to make a difference in the world for like all kinds of people, knowing that, or whatever I specify, what is the best course of action? Give me yes, give me no, give me a percentage. I often check the percentage of truth in a book. sometimes I look at my email list and I go, show me the benefit or detriment of reading this email. You know, and just like out. Okay. Now you don't get away with that if it's like your mom, right? Like she expects you to read her emails, but you know, it's a way to help you make decisions. It's not the end all tool. You know, it's not like turn your life over to this device and like douse. There are people that take it to the extreme, but it's like one more piece of information to help you make great decisions. Okay. And so it's really powerful. And along with it, there's bunches of videos. There's a book that I wrote about it that comes in ebook form. There's a bunch of bonuses. I even have a dowsing app. So the charts that I teach you how to use, from yes, no, to percentages, to benefit, detriment, to all these charts that you can use, you can literally pull it up on your phone and like just douse right over your phone. So there's also a tool that I created, which you spoke about in the beginning. You want to know your totem animal.
Yeah.
Okay. I created a tool. It's a book that I charge $44 for just separately, but it's part of the package that you get as an ebook thing, where it's all these charts and one whole section is totem animals. And so you literally can douse for your totem animal.
Wow.
Yeah.
That sounds really interesting.
Yeah.
I got another quick question about the dowsing, because I'm really interested in about this, and I think our viewers are going to be as well. Can you, with your pendulum, will it answer questions from other people, or does everyone have to do it to themselves?
Right. Well, I mean, you can douse for other people.
Yeah.
All right. But I put a lot of cautions to that.
Okay.
In the book that I wrote that people get, there's a lot of cautions around that. One, you don't have permission to invade somebody else's privacy, right? So you only ask questions for someone else if they ask you to, unless it's a small child in your care, like your child or something, right?
Okay.
So there's a whole bunch of scenarios where you should or you shouldn't, right? But one of the things a lot of people ask if they're dowsing is, may I, can I, should I? So you get the answers to those. So if somebody else wants an answer, then you say, okay, may I ask this question for them? Should I, can I, you know, all that.
Yeah.
And based on the answers, you know, you can proceed. I don't like to get into projection. You know, like I don't go, oh, should I play this, you know, lottery today, or should I get into the stock market, or, you know, I look more at what can benefit me now. And it's also great for clearing energy for yourself and your home and your car and your kids, because it makes a huge difference. I mean, radically huge difference to just clear with a pendulum when you're feeling off and off center.
And you do this every day?
I don't do clearing every day. I pick it up. I pick up the pendulum and I ask questions every day. But the clearing I do periodically, always when I'm doing classes, online or whatever, we all do them together. We all douse clearing together. But I do it when I'm feeling off center, or if I've had a really strange conversation with someone and I feel weird afterwards, you know, or if I'm having these thoughts that don't feel like mine. I'm an empath, so I do attract and pick up other people's energy. So if I'm not feeling normal, then I clear with a pendulum.
I pick up people's energy, and it's I try to ground myself, but this is a new and interesting way, you know, to try and clear that, because it's, when you're picking up someone else's energy, sometimes it's very uncomfortable.
Well, it is, and one of the cool things is when you know how to douse. And you know how to just ask the simple yes/no question, which is like the first thing you're taught, right? The first question you ask is, this weird feeling I'm having, is this mine? Is this my stuff? Like, am I upset about something that I'm not realizing, or is this not mine? Because if it's not yours, instantly you can clear it instantly with the pendulum.
Well,
it's huge. It's huge. I mean, it's fabulous.
It sounds huge, and it does sound fabulous. That's
all right.
Such amazing information. So I have the one final question for you.
Sure.
Takara, you've given us so much information today. You've given us your time, and I really appreciate it. How could I be of service to you?
Wow. I don't know. Come visit me sometime. I don't know.
I would love to.
That's such an interesting question. Just tell people I'm available and out here, you know?
For sure. So I'm going to get, was that, sorry?
I was going to say, try some of my products and then tell people you like them if you actually like them.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm definitely going to be looking into some of the stuff that you do, because I find it so interesting. And like I said, it's so helpful. It sounds life transforming.
Mm-hmm.
So I want everyone to check out Takara. She also has a free gift. Check that out, and check out her website, www.magnificentu.com. So that's magnificent.u.com,
Right.
and check out what she has online and find out all the transformational stuff she has to offer. So I want to thank you, Takara, very, very much from the bottom of my heart. I want to thank everyone who's joined us today. And until next time, many, many blessings. I'm your host, Monique Farrell.
Namaste.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.